Hi all, I'm Kristin Oropeza, Education Marketing and Community Coordinator here at Common Sense Education. It is back to school season and we are so excited to help educators prepare for returning to their classrooms for another year. Today I have Sue Thotz with me, Director of Outreach. Sue, welcome back. It's back to school season.
So excited. Happy to be back. Yes.
So back to school is right around the corner, Sue, and teachers are busy getting prepared for another school year. They're probably as excited as we are about returning. And and we want to help them, right? Can you take us through what we currently have available for educators to help them get ready for another great year?
Absolutely. So this year, I just wanted to share some of the resources that we have that we are trying to help folks with this fall. And so I'm going to share some of the newer things that maybe folks aren't really aware of. So we have this free back to school resources for grades K-12 page here, and it is all found at commonsense.org/education/back to school. That's a mouthful, but hopefully we'll be able to help you get to that link. And what I want to show you is that a lot of these resources that we are promoting here are around screen time, social media, cell phones, right? Distractions, wellness, and so maybe these are things that you hadn't seen yet. If you're just familiar with some of the stuff that we have related to digital citizenship and some of the ed tech resources. So the first part here is really about device distractions, and we're looking at some information about cell phone bans and what's going on with cell phones and whether you're using them in the classroom. But what I want to focus on here is also that we have a whole digital well-being collection for K-12. So if you have not seen that digital well-being collection, by all means dive in and see some of those lessons that really promote wellness, thoughtfulness, values, and so on. We also have some resources related to artificial intelligence and the way in which our students are dealing with artificial intelligence, some of the dilemmas, some of the basic literacy understanding of what is AI and how is it impacting us as teachers, as students. And so I'm going to go through and show these in a second, but I'll help you see what is in that AI literacy lesson collection for our kids' grades 6 through 12. And then, of course, there's an article there on plagiarism and some practical tips. And so all down here, there's also some resources and insights as far as selecting books and movies and podcasts that you might want to use in your classroom, and some great, recommendations for productivity tools. And then, of course, some, as you get back to school, here are a couple of resources to think about when it comes to getting back to school and establishing routines and figuring out how you're going to set up those expectations with your students right at the beginning. So, yeah, and of course, there's common sense recognition, which we're always talking about when it comes to helping you share with your community exactly what it is you're doing around digital citizenship and the work that you're doing in the classroom. So let's get back here to AI. And one thing I wanted to share with you is, what does this AI literacy collection look like? And so, I wanted to just showcase a couple of these lessons and then take you into one of these lessons and show you why I love it. What's my favorite, right? And so when you're looking at these are lessons that center on, what is AI? How is it trained? There are videos included in a couple of these when it comes to looking at chatbots. And this one here about chatbots and friendships is my favorite because it really centers on our relationship with technology. But there are others here that really talk about, what is bias? How does it happen? And what are some of the benefits and drawbacks of, all of this technology? And of course, for those who are concerned about plagiarism, this is a great way to have a conversation about what is the plagiarism question in your classroom and whether AI can factor in there. So with this lesson about AI chatbots and friendship, here's the central question here. Can chatbots affect our idea of what friendships and relationships should look like? As our students are talking to Siri and Alexa all day long, or they're looking at Snapchat and talking to the chatbot that's embedded inside there, how is that impacting their idea of what friendship is and what being there and being loyal and what does it mean to be a friend? So we begin this lesson about, about chatbots by asking, what is a good friend? What do you look for in a friend? And, some of these ideas might center on, being a good listener, being there for me, being, kind, right? And we give the students a scenario that you'll be reading through about a student who moves to a new town and is having a lot of trouble making friends, but really connects with a chatbot. And the chatbot always replies back when they talk about their day, and the chatbot has no judgment. It's always very kind, and it's always available day or night. And so we ask students, should this chatbot be a friend, right? And by the way, I'm giving the short version of this lesson. There's lots of other background and resources here. But this one is really about, is a chatbot really a friend? And what is a friend? And so we had this debate, but a lot of times students, when I do this with adults, adults almost invariably say, no, the chatbot is not your friend. But with students, I get a mix of, yes, it's dependable, it's supportive. No, doesn't, they often don't cite the empathy part, but they often say, like, no, like, this is not a friend because it's just a robot, right? Robots can't be friends. But you're having this conversation about, what does it mean to be a friend? And in the end here, what we talk about is why humans have this unique quality of being able to develop these relationships, and even though we can't be we can't be there all the time in the same way as a chatbot can. We're not always going to give you the answer that you want to know, but humans have this ability to give and take. We can reciprocate. We are able to call you out when things are not perfect, right? When you're being a jerk, I want to have somebody who calls me out too, right? And being able to disagree with someone and making mistakes is an important part of why we value humans and why we value these relationships. And I sure hope that all of your students have at least, a couple people in their lives that genuinely love them. And I hope that those students understand the value of those humans in their lives. And don't just always want to replace them with someone who's always, with a chatbot that always agrees. So Kristin, what do you think about that lesson?
I absolutely love all of our AI literacy lessons because while AI is such a huge topic in education right now, I think districts are still figuring out how is it appropriate for the schools and classrooms. But we forget that students oftentimes, especially, those in middle school and high school, are probably already using apps that utilize AI and probably already dealing with some of these concerns and topics. So it's good practice to be proactive in getting them ready and just having those again really good digital citizenship skills to be able to navigate this.
Is it a
So
digital skill? I mean, to me, it's just like that's the human part, right?
right, yeah,
I think we're complaining about our students who have these relationships with their phones all the time and that their noses are always with their phones. But if those phones are giving affirmation, if those phones are making you feel comfort, and if they're making you feel good, as a student, how much, willpower do you have to say, like, oh, no, no, I'd rather, hang out with people who sometimes push back on me, right? Or
right,
sometimes criticize me, or don't always guilt me into making me feel like I have to do my homework or eat my vegetables or whatever, right? So
yeah,
um, I think we need to think about how we are helping students understand the value of humans in this world and understand the value of human relationships.
yeah.
Um,
Now, so you said those lessons are for 6 through 12, but can they be brought down to upper elementary if needed?
how many students do you know that have relationships with their chatbot, with Alexa and Siri?
Right,
Like anybody who kind of understands that students are talking to chatbots, whether you call
right,
it a chatbot or whether you call it your personal assistant helper who's always listening.
yeah,
Um, like I think this is relevant to any of these kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, where can these resources be found?
commonsense.org/education/back hyphen to hyphen school if you want to get
Great.
real technical about it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sue, for sharing our back to school page, for sharing and going into some of our AI literacy lessons and why they're relevant and timely for students in our classrooms today. We are so excited for back to school. I hope you're as excited as our teachers going back to school.
I know you keep saying that. I know plenty of teachers who are not excited to
I
end their summer break.
know.
Uh, but I'm happy to see them all and be back with them in the classroom.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time.